think is really good. I was in, just so you know, I was in Israel when the war started.
Right.
So I'm 100% pro-Israel. I got to see firsthand what happened. And so can I just ask your story, like while you're here?
Well, because I've always believed that Jews should stand up for themselves. I think we can be too quiet as a community. I think that, a lot of us are, middle class, upper middle class, and we stay at home, and we don't think we need to be seen as a visible community in this country. And at times like this, when all of the noise seems to be coming from the other side, we need to stand up and be counted.
I agree with you. I think it's absolutely wickedness. They don't realise what they're protesting for, because my argument to them is Hamas was the one that broke into Israel. He was the one that butchered 1,500 people, sent over 5,000 rockets, and even kidnapped a 10-month-old baby, which has never been seen since. If you're going to give back any hostages, at least give back the baby first. If you had any humanity inside of you, you would do that, wouldn't you? But they didn't do that. And Israel are not going to want a rapist and a murderer as their neighbour. And so they're going to do everything they can to get rid of them. And yet they're protesting that to stop all the killing. But if the Hamas was to stand down for power and surrender his weapons and surrender his leadership status, there would be no more war. The war would end. And so if anybody's to blame for the amount of death that you see, whether it be in Gaza or Israel, it's Hamas, not Israel.
They have obviously provoked the situation, and they've done it deliberately. They knew what would happen, and sadly, we play into their hands because we've got no option.
That's right.
As I say, the Israeli government on the one hand, and people and Jews who believe they need to stand up and be counted on the other.
Yeah, and I just think, they're protesting for a murderer to stay in power. Because that's what he is.
Well, I think as far as this goes, the thing is that these marches have the potential to intimidate people. And I know because my daughter was bullied 2 days after the attack coming into London. She was bullied on the train by a group of guys who looked like they were Muslim, from what I can understand. I'm not saying they were, but likely. And they were talking very loudly about what they were going to do to any Jews that they found. So this is not just about Israel and Hamas, it's about Jews.
Yeah, and
that's why we all need to stand up.
And the land of Israel, do you believe in God?
Can't tell you that, I'm afraid. I don't know.
Okay.
My jury's out.
All right. Well,
I go to shul fairly regularly, but I can't tell you.
Well, I do. So can I tell you what I believe? If you allow me the grace to do that, I believe in the God of Israel. I believe that there is only one true God, and I believe in the story of Moses. I believe that the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt, and God sent them a deliverer, and He brought the children of Israel through the wilderness for 40 years, and then He brought them into the lands that they currently are in now. The story of Moses, where God told them to take an animal and cover the doorpost in its blood, was the foreshadowing, because God was going to send us a deliverer, a redeemer, because every human has sinned against Him. The one true God, the God of Israel, He's the God to the Jew and the Gentile, but He revealed Himself to the Jew first, and I believe the reason why He did that is because through them would come the Jewish Messiah that would save humanity from their sin. And so one like Moses was due to come, and he would deliver us from slavery to sin. And just like the doorpost, the blood was covered over the doorpost, everybody that was covered in His blood, God would pass over them from judgment and give them life. And we would likewise travel through a wilderness season while we await for His return, just like Moses went up onto the mount and spent time with God. Jesus went up to heaven and has been with God, and we're waiting for His return. And when He comes back, He's going to bring us into the promised land, which is the new heaven and the new earth, and we will get to live with Him forever. So it was a foreshadowing. So I believe the Bible, and I believe that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah, and I believe that what we're seeing now is a fulfillment of prophecy. In Zechariah chapter 12 it says that in the last days all the nations are going to come against Israel, and that God is going to make them an immovable rock, and in that day God is going to pour out His grace on them. They are going to look on Him who they pierced, mourn for Him as one mourns for an only son, and in that day all their sin will be forgiven.
Well,
I know you have to study it.
I can't really sort of comment.
I think when I look at it, when I read the Bible, I'm currently reading the book of Samuel at the moment about King David, but when I read it, it's incredible. Samuel was a priest that was rejected. The Jews wanted a king, so God gave them a king, and then King David came.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but you're sort of lecturing me.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. It's not meaning to it's just literally, I'm just like trying to say like how amazing it is when you look at the
Well,
prophecies.
I don't see it in a biblical light. I just see it in this is my race and my heritage, and I need to stand up for it.
Yeah, I agree. Can I offer you a Gospel of John?
Really.
Oh, can I at least encourage you to study the story of Moses, Jesus, and look at the prophecies. Look at Zechariah chapter 12 and Isaiah 53. You'll see it for yourself. It's prophesied. This is prophesied in the Bible, and we're seeing a fulfillment of it now. And the reason why is we're living in the last days before Jesus returns. For us that know the truth, it's exciting, but for the world, it's a very scary time.
I see it a little less esoterically and a little not realistic, but this is our current reality. We have to deal with it. Beyond that, I can't comment.
Okay, well, I pray for you to study it, okay? All right, God bless you. All right, okay, thank you.